Welcome back here to the Jordy Culotta Show, driven and powered by Go Chevrolet. Back to a little college football talk after Saints, Pelicans. Lloyd bleached his feet.
Yes, it's a mistake. It's a mistake.
Like, literally, his shoes are wet with bleach right now.
He's trying to catch a new buzz.
Say it again.
Literally, your feet are wet with bleach right now? What does that do for you?
Yeah, but the Katie was telling me I could inject bleach between my toes.
No,
I tried it.
I heard someone did that in college, and I wondered, like, what that does for you.
Well, not a lot right now. My toes are falling apart.
Let us know by noon, if you don't mind.
I'll let you know when K-Door hits.
From Crain and Company. Great show. Huge week here in college football. There are mega games, as we said, all over the SEC, including in Athens, Georgia, and right here in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, as Alabama will be in town on Saturday night. Let's talk all about it with Crain here, as we do every Monday. Jay, good morning. How are you, buddy?
Hey, guys. How are y'all doing? Appreciate y'all having me. And, yeah, there's a couple big games, I guess you could say, this weekend in college football.
There are huge games, and let's get to them. Before we do that, there is some news coming out of Auburn, Alabama, that they are in discussions with John Cohen, who is the reigning Mississippi State Athletics Director, and there are discussions that Cohen could accept the Auburn job as fast as today. What are you hearing on that front, and what do you expect there as far as that athletic director seat being vacant?
Here's where I'm at on it, guys. I'm kind of down two paths here. Number one, the athletic director is very important. We know how important it is from a fundraising standpoint, but your job is to hire the right football coach. That's your job. That's at least at a place like Auburn or LSU or a place like that. That's your job. Do I think John Cohen's the best athletic director out there? No, I don't. I would rather have Dave Benedict. Hell, I'd rather have Shane Lyons from West Virginia. But it's going to come down to who you hire to be the football coach. It's that simple. The problem with John Cohen is there's no way in hell Auburn is getting Hugh Freeze if John Cohen is the athletic director just because of how it went down in the state of Mississippi with Hugh Freeze. So if that happens, there's no Hugh Freeze. So I'm already pissed. But at this point, the old guard, if they want to do it their way, then I think it may be the best thing that can happen to Auburn. And here's why. Right now, the money people and the old guard are pointing at Brian Harsin like that wasn't our guy. Yeah. We told you that wasn't our guy, and it's a disaster. So I don't see them capitulating or saying, you know what, we'll finally give somebody full control that can actually do it. We'll get out of the way and let them do it. At this point, I think to break darkness, sometimes you got to embrace darkness. Hire John Cohen. And y'all hire whoever the hell y'all want, because at least if that happens, it's on y'all. The ball's in y'all's court. So if it goes really good, then great. It goes good. You made the right hire. Everything works out. If it goes bad, this one's on y'all. So that means it has to be rock bottom for Auburn. And we've seen what schools do when you hit rock bottom. Alabama with Mike Price and Mike Shula and Mike DeBose, they hit rock bottom. All right, hell, they were almost going to get Rich Rod, but then they gave everything Saban could ever ask for. You want full control? Here it is. Georgia hadn't won a natty in almost 100 years. They said, Kirby, you know how to do it from Nick. Here's full control. We give up. A&M hadn't won one since before the British got trapped at Dunkirk. They said, you know what, Jimbo? Here's everything. Here's everything you can possibly have. We'll let you do it. Now, it hasn't worked out at A&M like it has at Alabama and Georgia, but the jury's still out. Maybe this is where Auburn hits rock bottom, but maybe I'm just, maybe I'm hoping beyond hope. At this point, it's like Carrie Underwood said, man, just let Jesus take the wheel. Let's see what happens.
John Cohen gets hired. Would that make Dan Mullen the next head coach at Auburn?
Please God, no. Yeah. Look, who knows what's really going to happen? But if they hire Dan Mullen, who's like that stepdad that's like, tries to come in and be cool with the 13-year-olds, and he just ends up looking like a dumbass. Like that's Dan Mullen.
Hello,
Nobody really does. Does anybody really like Dan Mullen? Let's be honest. I mean, that's what. There's one. There's one. So I found one. I'm sure his mother likes him, but Dan Mullen, I don't think he can recruit.
Yeah.
At the level it takes. I mean, it just. I don't know, man. Just please not Dan Mullen.
Are you okay, dude?
Tennessee. What did you learn about them this weekend? Did you learn anything about them versus Kentucky?
Yeah, I mean, maturity. That they didn't look past Kentucky. They handled business. I think this is the biggest difference in this Tennessee team. Yeah, obviously Hendon Hooker is an absolute stud. We know getting Cedric Tillman back and Jalen Hyatt, who for some reason nobody wants to cover. I'm wondering if the guy just must really smell bad or something. Nobody's around him when the ball's in the air. But I think they showed you maturity. They didn't fall for the trap. And I think you saw that against Alabama when Alabama was able to throw that second punch. Tennessee actually had an answer instead of saying, oh, well, we played them pretty good. We're Tennessee and they're Alabama. No, they were able to win the game. I think you'll see that maturity pay off against Georgia in what's going to be an absolutely raucous atmosphere.
Give me a little primer on that one. 1 versus 2, Tennessee going into Athens. What's the build-up going to be like, and what do you expect from this one?
Oh, I mean, I think it's going to be a good game. I think these two teams it's so interesting because you have kind of polar opposite identities going against each other, and everybody's going to talk about Tennessee's offense versus Georgia's defense. That's not what's going to decide the game. It's Tennessee's defense versus Georgia's offense. Can Tennessee get enough stops against the Brock Bowers and the Miltons and the McIntoshes and A.D. Mitchell possibly coming back and Stetson Bennett being able to extend the play? Can Tennessee get enough stops and not let Georgia sit on the ball? What do I mean by that? They can't let Georgia negate their speed and the way they play on offense by letting Georgia go on 9, 10, 11, 12-play drives that eat the clock. This game will come down to who can dictate the pace of the game. That will not be dictated by Tennessee on offense. It will be dictated by Tennessee on defense. So it's going to be a hell of a matchup. I think it's going to be high scoring. Right now, I do like Georgia, but not by the 8 points.
LSU Bama on Saturday night, another huge game in the SEC as Bama comes in here with LSU, both sitting in first place in the West. What do you expect from this matchup on Saturday night?
Expect everybody's going to be hammered.
Yes.
That's what I expect. Everybody but the players, and who knows, maybe a few of them. But oh wait, A&M's not playing. When I look at this game, LSU I don't think can afford to get off to a bad start like they have in most of the games they played, including wins. They got off to a bad start against Auburn, they were able to come back. They got off to a bad start against Ole Miss, they were able to come back. You get off to a bad start against a team like Alabama with Bryce Young, who I don't know how you defend that guy. I've racked my brain. I've got no idea outside of just hoping really hard. But if they get out to a bad start, this game will look more like the Tennessee game than it did the Ole Miss game. But I feel like LSU, now that Jaden Daniels, and I come on here and talk about it every week since he started doing it, ever since he started to attack down the field, this LSU offense has been transformed. I think LSU can score on Alabama. I think you're going to have to get a lot of crossers, a lot of things going on laterally, and players crossing each other to be able to beat the man that you're going to get from Alabama. But make no mistake, can LSU run the ball? And that's not just Armani Goodwin. It's not just it's not just the running back room. It's Jaden Daniels on design quarterback runs to keep LSU ahead of schedule. This game will come down to LSU being able to get in 2nd and 6 as opposed to 2nd and 9, 3rd and 3 as opposed to 3rd and 6 and 3rd and 7. That will allow them to move the ball to be able to score enough points to compete with Alabama in this game. Playing at home is worth 3 to 7 points anyway. I believe it's a 12-point spread, 13-point spread, somewhere around there.
12.5.
The more I think about this game, the more I think it's going to be really tight toward the end.
I agree with you, man. On the Alabama side, they talk about Tyler Harrell like he's this game changer and could come in here and change the offense for LSU, for Alabama. What do you know about him, and what do you expect his impact to be?
Well, look, I mean, he's a guy that's played a lot of ball. We saw what he did at Louisville, and he's a vertical threat. Well, what does a vertical threat do? It opens up everything underneath. And when you have the wide receiver room that Alabama does, you've had some experienced guys come back. But that intermediate passing game for Bryce, that tight end passing game in the seam, that's what makes Alabama really deadly. And they haven't had that true vertical threat where you're like, oh, my God, at any point in time, this dude can run by anybody I have. That is who Tyler Harrell is. He makes just as big of an impact on the game when he is out there as a pre-snap as opposed to while the snap's going on. You have to know where he is, and it's not just on the vertical ball. It's on the post. It's running a wheel off the post when he's playing inside. It's the jet sweep that can extend you out. He is their burner that opens up everything underneath and in between. It just adds another element and another guy that Bryce Young can look at and say, all right, I've got a Ferrari out there.
From a coaching matchup, this feels like the first time LSU is on an even playing field with Alabama really since Saban has been there. When you view this game from a coaching aspect, sideline to sideline, how do you see it?
I mean, I think it's about as even as you're going to get when you're going up against a Nick Saban coach team and a Nick Saban staff that he put together. I mean, he's the greatest of all time. But Brian Kelly, look, I mean, this staff is not going to be overwhelmed by the moment. I think the best thing you're going to get for Brian Kelly is keeping the players and the younger coaches from getting too excited. Just like you can be too low for a game, you can be too high for a game. I think they were too high playing Tennessee at home.
Yeah,
I think they came out and they're so juiced up. Hell, Jack Best couldn't even catch the opening kickoff. Right. They're so juiced up. A guy that you trust when it comes to ball handling. So I think Brian Kelly keeping that team even keel and making them understand this game has nothing to do with Alabama. It has everything to do with us, because best believe that's the message getting sent to Alabama right now. So if LSU can keep it about them, they can work on the fundamentals of what they do, and Jaden Daniels can understand, hey, just because it's Alabama doesn't mean I can't attack down the field. Hell, because it's Alabama, I may attack down the field a little bit more. But being even keel and playing within yourself and within what your offense and identity is, that is where I think Brian Kelly's experience is going to bleed through to this team. And that's where having an older quarterback and some older guys in the wide receiver room and some of the older guys on defense saying, listen, we've got to just go play football. Nothing changes because it's Alabama. The field doesn't get longer or wider. The clock doesn't go slower or faster. It's about us this weekend. Let's make it about us regardless of how the game goes early.
Lane Kiffin and Ole Miss go into College Station and get a win versus Jimbo and the Aggies. A couple of digs on the way out from Kiffin to Jimbo and the sideline over there. What did you make of that matchup, and what would you make of Ole Miss's win?
Well, I didn't think the biggest surprise of the game was Connor Wegman. I thought the biggest surprise of the game was A&M's offensive line being able to hold up with three starters out, and including the center. I thought they actually did a pretty good job. Another shocking part, not that Ole Miss can't run the ball well. That's who they are. They're a three-headed running monster. But A&M's front seven on defense was getting absolutely gashed from the start to the finish. I mean, there were plays where Judkins wasn't getting touched till he was in the secondary. And it wasn't like it was, we're just getting out-leveraged. Or, they're killing us with a certain run that schematically we're not able to fit right. We're going to have to change something. They were just getting their ass kicked, whether it was inside zone, whether it was gap scheme with counter with the two pullers, the power with the one puller, insert, all that. Ole Miss was doing whatever they wanted, and that gave that play-action game ability to Jackson Dart down the stretch. So A&M, again, good teams find a way to win, bad teams find a way to lose. And it seems like A&M is finding a way to lose. When A&M plays Auburn in 2 weeks, I don't know if anybody's going to win that game, because these two teams are so good at finding ways to lose them. I don't know who the hell is going to step up and make a play to win the game. So for A&M, you're 3-5. I mean, I had them starting out 1-3 in the SEC season, so I'm not shocked. But, I mean, good Lord, guys. And Connor Wegman, I mean, how is Haynes King playing? How's Haynes King playing?
Seriously.
Like Max Johnson, I can understand. They were operating, in my opinion, fine with Max Johnson, but how the hell do you look at Haynes King and you're like, yeah, he's definitely better than Connor? That's what worries me about Jimbo. All Connor Wegman does is come in and throw for 330 yards and 4 touchdowns. I mean, damn, Jimbo, does Haynes' family have pictures of you or something?
It is crazy. It is crazy. Hugh Freeze and Liberty are coming into the SEC this weekend. They're going to Razorback Stadium in Fayetteville. What did you make of Hugh Freeze's new contract where they had seemingly locked him down through the next 100 years, and Liberty coming in? What shot do you give them?
You look, I mean, this Liberty team is physical. I mean, Hugh Freeze just continues to win. I mean, you lose Malik Willis, but you're able to turn around. They just beat the hell out of BYU. Now, with the Hugh Freeze's contract, the buyout didn't change.
Yeah.
That's something everybody needs to know. Yeah, they can sign you for 300 years, but the buyout didn't change. That's what matters. Because if you're going to leave, that's what it's going to come down to. But now with Auburn hiring John Cohen, most likely as athletic director, it really doesn't matter. But no, guys, I mean, Liberty has a good chance to come in there and make it an interesting game. I just think Arkansas finds a way at home.
Yeah. Last one, that scene in East Lansing with Michigan State and Michigan. What effect do you think this has on the game, the Big Ten? What's going to happen on the fallout here?
Well, look, if you watch the video, and I think we should be mature enough to be able to have one team go in a tunnel and wait for the other team. The Michigan player snuck up in the Michigan State, into the players when they were going in the tunnel. I don't have video of what was said or how it went down. But you should never jump somebody. That's what happened. Do I think there should be criminal charges? No. If you're going to charge anybody with anything criminally, it should be Michigan for assault and battery on what they did to Michigan State's offense throughout the course of that game. I don't think there should be criminal files charged. They should suspend those players. It's a bad look. But if you've ever been in that scenario or that situation, emotions are riding really high after games either way, especially in a rival game. And if you go up in there and you're running your mouth and doing something like that, and the team kind of combats against you, it's a bad look, but I don't think anybody should go to jail. But look, I mean, it's a bad look. Let's be honest. It really is.
All right, that was, I believe I said East Lansing. That was in Ann Arbor over the weekend. Jake, have a great week, man. We will talk again soon.
Hey, you too as well, man. We're going to get you on this week for a little LSU Bama.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Talk soon, buddy. Thank you.
All right, buddy. Appreciate it.
There's Jake Crain checking in this morning. Remember, all of our shows brought to you by Barker Brothers Plumbing and Works. Jude Barker and his crew over at Barker Brothers Plumbing and Works, number one and the number two business, as they can get you right today. Call them 776-2431, 225-776-2431. Mention the show. Save 15% over there at Barker Brothers Plumbing and Works. They are also commercially licensed, so whatever you have going on around the office. In fact, if you need a little remodel in the bathroom, they can help you out with all of the plumbing and can help you out with that construction as well. 225-776-2431. Barker Brothers Plumbing and Works. Mention the Culotta Show. Save 15% here.
Hey, why did Dan Mullen talk with John Cohen? What does that have to do with each other? What do they have to do with each other? He didn't hire Dan Mullen.
Yeah, but I mean, they work together at Mississippi State.
I mean,
that would be the tie.
That was 2 athletic directors ago.
Oh, God.
Like, Greg Byrne hired Dan Mullen. They have nothing to do with
Whoa,
each other.
Katie,
so.
Jesus, I've been stewing on this for a long
I don't
time.
understand. I have, because I don't get it. I don't get why everybody's like, oh, he's going to hire Dan Mullen. He didn't hire Dan Mullen.
You're
So, like, what's the deal
You're like Will
with that?
Ferrell in Old School. Like, what happened? I blacked out.
No, I just, like, I don't get it. I don't understand why everybody's like,
You really
putting
don't
that out
understand why
there.
people would put John Cohen and Dan
because
Mullen
they're
together?
both related to Mississippi State at one point?
Yeah,
No,
they were
No,
at
I
the same
don't.
time.
at the
Cousins?
same
He
time.
didn't hire him, though.
Yeah, but
There
that
was
doesn't
2
mean
athletic
anything.
directors
He would have
ago.
fired him if he wanted to get rid of him. He obviously liked
Who?
him. John Cohen would have fired Dan
Dan Mullen
Mullen.
wasn't there when John Cohen was athletic director. If
I
he
can't
was,
even
it
fact
was
check
at
her
the
because
very
she is
end.
like in a
It was
depth
Greg
of.
Byrne, and then Scott Strickland was through Dan Mullen's tenure. And Scott Strickland's the AD at Florida when Dan went. And then John Cohen started in what? Oh, I don't remember what year he
Cape
started.
Karen.
Anyway, he didn't hire
Well,
him.
that
so
would
I
be
just
that
don't
would
get
be the
it.
only reason why their names come up. I'm not saying that he's hiring him.
I mean,
Well, everybody was like, Dan Mullen, don't bring Dan Mullen. I'm
I'm
like,
not
what
saying
does
he's
that have
hiring.
to do
And I
with each
mean,
other?
if you're Auburn, or if you're an LSU fan, you would hope he would hire Dan
Yeah,
Mullen.
go
I mean,
get him.
Because he's right. Dan Mullen doesn't recruit. That's why.
Also, in Wikipedia, it shows John Cohen as the athletic director at Auburn. I don't know who does that or who
people are
updates
fast.
that or how, but
I mean, I think it's gonna happen today though.
I feel like James Carville in old school, where I'm just like, everything she said is right. I have no rebuttal. I don't know even where we are right now.
Me neither.
I'm just curious on why that's
We're in
thrown out.
Mississippi.
You just had all of those.
I don't think you're curious. Sounds more than curiosity.
Sounds like you want Dan Mullen back.
I love Dan Mullen, and I loved Scott Strickland too. I take both of them back.
Sounds like a weird love that you have for these people.
All right, we'll be back. Close it out here on the Jordy Culotta Show, driven and powered by Go Chevrolet.